Let me open this up quickly by saying this quote, and I pray that you receive it and that you get it. Successful people ask better questions, and as a result, they get better answers. Let me say it to you again. Successful people ask better questions, and as a result, they get better answers. Let me give it to you one more again. Successful people ask better questions, and as a result, they get better answers. The value that you actually will receive from reflecting will actually depend upon whether or not you ask the right questions. Good leaders ask good questions. The better the questions, the more gold, if I can use that word, the more gold you will mine in your thinking. Did y'all hear what I just said? The better the questions, the more gold you will mine, M-I-N-E, from your thinking. A lot of times when I reflect, some people say that's good, some people say that's actually bad. But when I actually do a lot of reflecting, I think actually in terms of my values. I think in terms of my relationships. I think in terms of my experiences. That's what I do all the time. So I think a lot about my values. I think about the core values. I think about things that it is that I deal with. I think about the pressing issues that I have. I think about my relationships. I question whether they're authentic. I question whether or not they have substance. I question if it is something of truth. A lot of times, because a lot of times we are in relationships of one. And if anybody knows what I'm talking about, you're the only one that does some things, and we say certain things, but it's really not, they don't match up with our words. So I look a lot at my relationships, and then I look a lot at my experiences, and I think about those things. So, but when I deal with that, I'm going to give you some of the questions that I look at, or some of the questions of some areas in which I deal with. All right. One of my major areas is personal growth. You all know that about me. So one of the questions I always ask myself, and I ask this every single day. What have I learned today that will help me grow? What have I learned today to help me grow? And I'm going to tell you, it's every day is something that I'm going to learn from every single day. Good, bad, ugly, the positive, the negative, the addition, the multiplication, like subtraction and division. I learn every day. So I always ask myself, what did I learn to help me grow? What stretched me? What made me take some serious accounts of some things? What metrics do I need to look at? So when I ask myself, what did I learn today to help me grow? The next question I ask myself is, how can I apply it to my life? Okay. How can I apply it to my life? And when should I apply it? So hear me. When I deal with personal growth, my premise question is, what have I learned today that will help me grow? And then right after I get that one thing, how can I apply it to my life? And when should I apply it? Give an example. Yesterday, something that helped me grow was to realize you can't be part of smoke and mirrors. How can I apply that to my life? Is that I need to look at all matters, not just what I see just in one area. And when should I apply it? Immediately. Okay? Now that's just one. In business, I learned that you can't do business with shrewd people. And I had to learn that you have to make sure that people's integrity and credibility matches up. And I had to apply, and I said, how can I apply this to my life? Is making sure not only do I do an investigation, but also that I take my time before I say yes to everything. When should I apply that principle to my life? ASAP. You follow me? So those are things that I deal with. Let me give you one from a spiritual perspective. Something that I learned yesterday that helped me grow is that a lot of people need greater substance. And I apply that to my life by making sure that I continue to dig deeper in the Word. Okay. And I apply that every single day of my life. Okay. That's one. Now here's one that I might lose some people on, and it's called the inner circle. All right. The inner circle. Here's my top question. Have I spent enough time with my key players? Have I spent enough time with my key players? Okay. And then the question after that would be, what can I do to help them become more successful? All right. And in what areas can I actually mentor them? And let me give it to you again. Have I spent enough time, amen, with my key players? What can I do to help them become more successful? And in what areas can I mentor them? Let's give you something in my private life. Have I spent time with my key players, the key people of my team, the people that hold my arms up, the people who rock with me in the dark, the people who, when the fanfare is over, the people that know how to yet keep me in a positive place. Yesterday, I couldn't do my deacons class, but I had my son, Elder Sir George Lloyd. He taught the adjutant, did a phenomenal class, rec shop, in about 40 minutes yesterday. And when I spent enough time with him now for him to know how to facilitate a class. What can I do to help him become more successful? Well, I threw him out there. I throw them out there. You can't. You'll never be good if you never give them the opportunity to make it happen. You have to give people the time to where iron sharpens iron. You also have to give them time to do their internship. And what areas I could mentor him was to teach him the way to seemeth right, and for him to see me do it, and then allow him to do it, and now he can coach somebody else. I must say this to you, and for every senior leader, I want to give you this, and I pray that you hear my heart as I say it and share it. Watch this. You have to get your leaders to train themselves out of a job. Y'all missed what I just said. Let me give it to you again. It's time for your leaders to train themselves out of a job. They will never go to their place of elevation as long as you allow them to continue to babysit and occupy a position that you know that they've outgrown. You're going to have to now let them grab someone that's inside that they can train to be able to be cultivated, to be able to grow to that place so they can go to the next dimension of what God has given you and envisioned for them to be. If people out here right now that operate in the apostolic in particular, you operate in the apostolic, you understand that you ought to have apostolic teams, apostolic companies, and you understand that there has to be people that will go with you in a certain sphere where everybody can't go. Hear me, who's going to take care of the home front while you out taking care of the business? And if you don't have a strong, solid, solidified home front, they're going to keep you babysitting in your local congregation. Y'all ain't ready for me today. We have to make sure that in our inner circles that we're dealing with the truth of the matter. Those that are sports buffs right now, we are understanding that the Cleveland Cavaliers are going through a bunch of turmoil. They had a meeting this week, and one person who really just came off of injury is coming against a veteran of seniority at a team that's set up and trying to find fault with that individual and now have other people. And Shannon Sharp said something on his show that really catapulted something in me that made me say, that's what I'm talking about. And this is what he said. He said, how can you sit up to come for me and I didn't send for you? We here now, so it needs to get heated. And if you're not careful, I'm going to put them mitts on you. He says something, and hear me, and when you're part of the inner circle, and I said all that to get to this, when you're part of the inner circle, my job is to make you better. My job is to help you get to a place where you've never been. But how can you get to a place and you have a lackluster fanfare and you're casual about the things that you should have passion in and being intense about? In order to mentor people, they have to be trained to be up out of the place that they're in. You have to catapult them. You have to challenge them into some areas that they just don't want to go to. And hear me, everybody that say they won't change, hear me, are not really the fan favorites of it, especially if the change does not include them. Maybe you might have to come off the bench for a season. Are y'all listening to me? Maybe you may have to go in the corner and time out for a season. Maybe you're going to have to, in this place, in order for us to become successful as a team, I'm going to need you not to score 30, 20, and 10. I may need you to come back for a minute for you to be able to make us successful, to be to the place where we are called to be. So you have to spend the time with the key players. You got to cultivate them, train them. You got to do it. And watch this here. All the people that I mentor, all the people that I cover per se. Hear me. Everybody don't want the certain spear, so they'll run from that because they know that this is going to require for them to go up on a mountaintop. Some people only want to go on the mountaintop to sit, but maybe you need to sit on the mountaintop so you can hear God and watch his shadow. Y'all missed it. Let me move on. So personal growth, inner circle. Let me deal with the next one, success. Okay? In success, this is what I like. In success, I say to myself, what went right? What went right? And then after I ask myself that, I say, did I create it? Did I create it? And then after that, I said, is there a principle that I can learn from this experience? Now, what I'm giving you leaders and those of you 5-star generals is on here, you can take this right here and you can give it. You can give it, amen, to your leaders and put your own spear on it. And I'm telling you, they will go through a whole purging of deliverance right through here. Because I'm telling you, as I'm saying it, you have to know what went right. You have to also know what went wrong. You have to see, did you create it? Amen. Did you bring a spear of a spirit that woven through that was not the best spirit? Did you cause some proclivity? Even right now with one of my prototypes, I learned that you can compromise. And when you compromise, what ended up happening is you could have created more problems than you created yourself more compliments. So you got to say to yourself, is this a principle that I can learn from the experience? Be very careful in saying that you don't want to hurt, but you are hurting people. And as leaders, you must make sure that you're not creating an environment to whereas you have broke down credibility, you broke down integrity, you broke down trust, and now there is a place where you have to swallow the pill of the part that you played to bring failure to a situation. I hope that makes sense to everybody. So watch this here. How you organize your reflection time is really up to you. But the main thing is to make sure that you create the right questions that work for you. You got to create the right questions that work for you. Then you got to write down the significant thoughts that come during your reflection time. One of the greatest things that I thank God for is that when I have time to think, there are times when I beat the brakes off myself. See, I don't need a lot of people to do that. They're good at doing that. But if I really want to get to a place where I'm wounded and I don't have a standing 8-count rule, it is when I can get on myself and deal with myself. Are y'all listening to me? So I'm telling you, when you are successful, you ask better questions to get the better answers and get better results. You have to know how to deal with some things. Earlier this week, I was hit with something, and I mean, that thing kind of bothered me. It rocked me for a minute. But the moment I got myself together, can I tell you something? I said, okay, I won't allow this to ever again get here, because I've allowed it to happen twice. You follow me? And when I allow things to happen to me, watch this here, did I ask the right questions the last time? So hear me, you can never always give someone else the blame without you first saying, well, I never thought that through. I never thought this would happen. I never thought that this would do this. I never thought this would happen right then and there. You have to make sure that in your reflection time that you know properly how to deal with yourself, that you know properly how to rock with yourself. You know how to make sure that you are moving, not just in your apostolic, but you know how to move in your commonality of natural ability. All right. So, one of the things that I would say to you all today is to follow effective action with quiet reflection. Can y'all write that down, please? Follow effective action with quiet reflection. Let me give it to you one more time. Follow effective action with quiet reflection. From quiet reflection will come even more effective action. Are y'all listening to me? So what I do here